Welcome to part 2 of lesson 1.2. The reason why we need to be able to be fluent at converting percents into decimal is because anytime you do mathematics and percent, you're always going to see decimal. And especially in the Common Core and the state test, they love to test you and your understanding of decimals or fractions, percents in decimals. So, let's talk about pizza, because that's what everybody loves in New York. So, it says, I want to eat blank percent of the pizza pie. Well, actually before that, since you've been doing a lot with lesson 1.2 before, let's actually do a little intermission and do a little trivia. Okay, so, if you could take a look, right, I like meat and veggies on my pizza. Which combination of meat and veggie do you think I like the most? Right, on the left side I have pepperoni, sausage, and bacon. And on the right side I have onion, black olives, and peppers. I wonder what you guys like. Do you guys like pepperoni? Well, anyway, what do I like? I like bacon with black olives, which my wife, Nicole, hates. She hates black olives, but I love it. Nom 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 nom. Anyway, let's go back to this one. I want to eat, let's say, because I'm hungry, 100% of the pizza pie. Wow, that's a lot of pizza. Okay, so we talked about this before, but let's just say I have 100%. If I'm eating 100%, right, how much of the pizza is that? It's the total. And as a decimal, how do we represent that? Well, 100%, percents divide by 100, so 100 divided by 100, I will get 1. Right, that's the same thing as 100%. So let's actually explore that just a little bit more. Let me draw a number line. As so. And so we're going to start at 100%. That's going to be our base, our origin. So we have 100%. Well, if I want 100% of something, what does that mean? Well, usually that means, right, I have a pizza pie. Right, and like I said, right, let's put maybe some black olives on there, because I love black olives. And so, well, actually it looks more like a cookie or a moon. But anyway, if I want 100% of it, right, if I shade in the part that I want, if I want 100%, that means I would shade the entire pizza. Right, I want the entire thing. Okay, well that's easy. Well, what if I said I want only 50%? Okay, well what is that as a decimal? Well, we just have to move the decimal place to the left twice. And so what's my decimal equivalent? It'll be 0.5. Right, and what does that look like if I draw a diagram? Okay, so again, I'm going to draw my circle. And I only want 50% or half of it. Right, so I'm only eating half of my pizza. Well, what if I instead said I want to eat only 25%? I'm getting less and less hungry. I only want 25%. Okay, well what does that mean? Well, again, I could move my decimal. What does my decimal look like? It would look like 0.25. And my pizza, I would eat only 1/4. So far so good? Right, pretty straightforward. So, but now, right, let's talk a little bit more about the other side, right? Please focus on the decimal right now. What happens if I go over here and said, oh, I want to eat 200% of the pizza? Huh. What on earth does that mean that I want to eat 200% of my pizza? Does that even make sense? Okay, well, let's think about it. Well, what is that as a decimal, this 200%? Well, I could write that, again, the decimal's over here. I would move the decimal twice, and what would I get? I would get 2. Huh, okay. Well, when I had 100% as a decimal, that's 1. And what did that 1 mean? That means the 1 whole pizza. Well, now I have 200%. What's the decimal equivalent? It was 2. Okay, so then that means I have 1 pizza here, right? That would be my 1, or my 100%. And then I also have to add another pizza, right? Because that's 1 whole pizza. That represents another 100%. And so together, what do I have? 1 plus 1 is my 2. Or 100 plus 100% gives me my 200%. So that's what that 200% of my pizza means, right? Not just 100%, that's just 1. If I want 200%, that means I want 2 pizzas. Okay, well, what if instead I said I wanted 225% of my pizza? Oh my gosh, what on earth does that mean? Well, decimal equivalent, I would move the decimal place twice to the left. I would get 2.25. What does that mean? Okay, well, over here, that tells me how many whole pizzas I have. Right? So, how many whole pizzas do I have? I have 2 whole pizzas, each of which is 100% of the pizza. So I have 100% here, which represents 1 as a decimal. I have another 100% here, right? Let me shade it in to show that I want the whole 100%, which represents 1. Is that all I'm eating? No, that would be just the 2. I also need the fractional part, right? The little bit of the pizza. Well, what's 0.25? Well, like we said, that's the 25%. So that means I also want a fraction of it. I want the 0.25, right, or the 25%. So everything together, I would get a total of 1 plus 1 plus 0.25, and I would get to my 2.25. So the idea here is that I start with 100%, right? That represents 1. But then, almost always, I'm not talking about only the 100% of the pizza, right? Sometimes I want to eat less, which represents, right, a decimal, right? It's less than 1, it's 0.5, right? That means that I only have a fraction, right? It's a decimal, right? I don't have any whole parts here. It's 0. I don't have a whole pizza. I only have a fraction of it, or 0.5. Over here too, I do not have a whole pizza. It says 0.25, right? That's only a small part, a fraction. Over here, I have 2 whole pizzas, right? And I have no fractional part. Over here, I have 2 whole pizzas, or 200%, and then I have a little bit extra, that 1/4. So that's the idea about decimals, right? We start with 100. 100% means 1. So keep that in mind as we go to the next step. It's going to be a little bit more challenging, right? But actually, let's organize this a little bit, right? Right now, I started here, and that meant the whole pizza, right? That's what that 1 means, or 100%. I have the whole pizza. If I go to the left, right, that means I have less than a whole. And I have less than the whole. But then over here, right, as I get larger than 1, that means I have more than the whole. Right, that's what that means. But then it gets a little bit more challenging. Please look at the next video. Okay, so